Verstappen was clear that even with full power the race would have been tough, but maybe they would have been more competitive. Overall, he called it a bad race and warned that if they don't fix things, the rest of the season could be difficult. There's still a lot of work to do. Verstappen didn't hold back when talking about his own race either. He said it was full of problems, from the car not performing well, to a poor pit stop, and the need to drive with less power. Basically, everything seemed to go wrong for him that day. His teammate Sergio Perez also wasn't happy with their race strategy. He said it didn't matter much where they drove on the track because the two-stop approach just wasn't working. Whether on hard or medium tires, they were too slow to keep up. Perez even said that with how things are going, winning more races seems unlikely, but that's just how it is for now. Though Verstappen still leads the Drivers' Championship by 62 points, if this form continues, that lead might disappear. He struggled during qualifying, ending up 7th, a full 7/10 behind pole position. In the race, he looked lost, only overtaking George Russell because the latter made mistakes. Verstappen doesn't expect things to improve much in the next races. He explained that if the car's balance is off over one lap, it's not going to suddenly get better during the race. He warned that things could get worse if they don't find a solution soon. This raises the question, is Red Bull really listening to their three-time world champion? Verstappen said the team does listen to him, but they still don't know exactly how to fix the problems. He admitted that finding the right solution is difficult, and that even though they are checking different things, it's taking longer than they hoped. It's not a quick fix, and he hopes they can come up with improvements that will help the car's balance at some point. Meanwhile, their competitors are not standing still and continue to push forward. During a recent news conference in Monza, Verstappen admitted that Red Bull is in a tough spot right now. He called it an alarm phase for the team. The big question is whether they can catch up to the others and regain their winning form. On the other hand, the accusations from Red Bull about Mercedes and McLaren's front wings raise a big debate. Are these cars really breaking the rules, or is this just a way for Red Bull to shift the attention away from their own struggles? What's your take on this? Do you think there's anything unfair going on, or is Red Bull just feeling the pressure? Share your thoughts in the comments below. To sum up, this season has taken a surprising turn. With McLaren and Mercedes showing strong performance and Red Bull facing difficulties, the competition is more intense than ever. The questions around car legality add even more drama to the title fight. As the races continue, it will be interesting to see if Red Bull can solve their problems and if the FIA decides to investigate these front-wing designs. One thing is clear, the battle for the championship is far from over, and every detail counts. Thanks for following along. Stay tuned for more updates as the season unfolds. Don't forget to share your opinions and keep the discussion going. The world of Formula One never fails to surprise us. What a thrilling race at Ferrari's home track. Leclerc took the win, but all eyes are really on the fight for the championship. This weekend brought a surprising new twist. Red Bull, especially their advisor Helmut Marko, raised serious concerns about McLaren's car, claiming it might not follow the rules. Could there be any truth to this? And where are these accusations coming from? The main focus is on McLaren's front wing, which some say might be bending the rules, just like Mercedes's front wing. Helmut Marko wants the FIA to take a closer look at these parts on both the McLaren MCL38 and the Mercedes W15. These comments came during a tough qualifying session for Red Bull in Monza, where things didn't go their way. Mercedes introduced their flexible front wing back in 2022, but it seems this design is working best this year. The German team has already won 3 races so far in 2024. McLaren also uses a similar wing on their car and has been happy with the results. They are closing the gap to Red Bull in the Constructors' Championship, with just 8 points between them now and 62 points separating Verstappen and Norris in the drivers' standings. Red Bull is worried because the upgrades their rivals have brought this season seem to be more effective than what they have managed. Team boss Christian Horner has hinted at where he thinks the difference lies. He said that the front wing is a key area where other teams have gained more performance. If you compare the angle of the front wings on McLaren and Mercedes to the rest of the field, you'll see they are quite different. Helmut Marko also pointed out these differences and has called for an investigation into the front wings of McLaren and Mercedes. It's still unclear if the FIA will agree to this request, but it's certain that Verstappen and Perez will have to face these illegal cars on the track. So what exactly makes these wings different? Both Mercedes and McLaren use designs that Red Bull doesn't. One of the main features started by Mercedes in 2022 is a specific cutout on the lower rear corner of the end plate, along with a semi-detached flap design. This design controls airflow around the tires, which affects the turbulence behind the car. Several teams, including McLaren, have copied this idea. Besides that, Mercedes and McLaren also handle the gap between the fixed part of the wing and the moving flaps differently compared to Red Bull. On the MCL38 and W15, this gap is angled, more diagonally. This creates a small swirling air pattern called a vortex at the ends of each section. This vortex is carefully shaped to improve airflow underneath the car and around the side pods. Another interesting point is that the movable flap on these cars can change position as the speed increases. This helps the car handle better by reducing understeer at low speeds and oversteer at high speeds. This kind of wing flexibility affects how the airflow behaves, and if a team can control this well, it can give them a real advantage. These flexible wings have recently been a hot topic. The FIA now requires teams to use extra cameras during practice sessions to study these parts closely. It's common knowledge that teams use aeroelasticity in different ways to improve performance, drawing on many years of data and designs to gain an edge. McLaren hasn't slowed down either and showed off a number of updates at the Italian Grand Prix. While some of these changes were specifically made for the fast Monza track, others seem like longer-term tweaks to get even more out of the MCL38. One of the main goals at Monza is always to cut down on drag, and McLaren's front, rear, and beam wings were among the smallest seen all season. Starting with the front wing, McLaren revised the top flap by shaving off a crescent-shaped section at the trailing edge. They also made adjustments to the side pod and engine cover to improve airflow towards the back of the car. Because of this more delicate design, McLaren switched to teardrop-shaped flap pivots instead of the barrel-shaped ones they used in Belgium. As expected, McLaren combined this low-downforce setup with a simple single-element beam wing to boost top speed. But their biggest improvements were again to the front wing. When Verstappen was asked about Red Bull's poor performance last weekend, he said it came down to their rivals making bigger gains with a different front wing design. According to Red Bull, their way of doing things might be legal, but it is quite different from most other teams. After the Italian race, Verstappen also admitted the race strategy and some other issues hurt their chances. He mentioned that although they tried their best, the car's pace wasn't strong enough. They ended up doing a two-stop strategy, while some competitors managed with just one stop, which wasn't ideal. On top of that, a problem during the race meant they couldn't run at full power for most of the time.